I'm Michael Bain and welcome to Triggered, coming to you once again from Dragon House Studios at the secret hidden bunker in the Rocky Mountains where, amazingly, everything is safe and sound. The only damage we've had from the Cameron Peak fire is some ash on the outsides of the building, maybe where hot ash landed, but everything is fine. There's not even a single burn spot on our property. Now, I would class that as grace, the prayers and thoughts of good friends, the hard work of the heroes on the fire lines, and just plain luck. Whichever one of those was prevalent, I'm 100% on that. Anyway, now that we're back here in the studio, I want to pick up on the show I was going to do last week when we were at the chicken ranch. And I haven't yet done as much work as I want to do on this because for all the obvious reasons, we haven't been able to access a range for some time now. So it's important to do this show. I guess the title would be Slimming Down, and that's only in terms of Glocks. I want to talk you through this Glock G48, which I believe may be one of the best guns that Glock ever made. And as you know, I've carried G19s, I've carried G26s, I've competed with those guns. I've spent a lot of time around Glocks, Glock armor, school, all those things. But I think that the G48 is pretty easily the spiffiest of the entire group. Now, we talked about this gun a little bit before, but before continuous precision went to work on it. But basically, if you think of a G48 as a single stack G19, you won't be far from wrong. Obviously, here, well, here's a G19. Here's a G48. Wow, did they not look the same? Wow, they're pretty close, right? Now, if you look here at the butt, absolutely the same thing. What you're seeing is a single stack G19. G19, easily the greatest carry gun in history. And I'm not the only one who've said that. For years, we have asked for a single stack G19. I once personally asked Mr. Glock, Gaston Glock, he goes, "What can I do for you, Michael?" I said, "Can I have a single stack G19 9mm?" And he goes, "Go away, Michael, go away." Anyway, but eventually Glock came to that revelation. The G43, which is 43X, which is kind of like a commander length version of this gun. I think it's super. I like the way it shot. I started putting rounds through it as soon as I got it. And I just really like the way it shot. I like the way it fit my hand. I have a little bit smaller hand. It's not that I can't shoot a G19. It's just that I find that this grip fits so very, very well. From my standpoint, it makes a great concealed carry gun. Secondly, for whatever reasons, I found the little sucker shot fairly light. Felt like shooting my G19. Well, they're 5 rounds less. The G48, as it comes out of the box, is a 10-round gun. It comes with, bong, 10-round Glock magazines, which inexplicably will no longer fit a G43. But what can I say? It's almost like Apple, you know? You just get used to one operating system and Apple like changes it and everything you own doesn't work anymore. Maybe that's a little like Glock. But it came with your classic 10-round Glock magazine. Whereas the G19 comes with standard with a 15-round magazine. So you got 5 extra rounds in the G19, making it a little bit heavier. But again, I found I shot the G48 as good as I shoot any Glock, including my G19X, which is basically the full-size frame, the G17 size frame on a G19 slide, which is a great, great gun. I've shot it in competition, etc. So I started shooting this gun and I really liked it. Yeah, I saw this gun as a step in the right direction on a carry gun. Now, I'm torn right now, and you guys are going to kind of be in the whole loop on this, but we're going to be talking about more SIG 365 stuff. But I've kind of alternately carried a Glock 26 and a SIG 365 over the last couple of months for a lot of reasons, kind of interchangeably back and forth. But I was waiting for a couple of things to happen on the G48. A few months back, I was at an event at American Outdoor Brands in Columbia and ran into a friend of mine, and we were sitting at dinner talking and imbibing adult beverages. And he said, "Hey, you got a G48, right?" I said, yeah, all God's children got G48s. And he goes, well, he goes, take a look at this. And he goes through his phone. He's got all these pictures. I said, what company did this? And he goes, Continuous Precision in Michigan. It's a gunsmithing outfit in Michigan. And he goes, they are really very good. He goes, I know the guys, I kind of work with them, but man, their work is absolutely dead on. And he goes, hey, why don't you send them the G48 and let them build it up the way they think they should build it up? And I said, well, yeah, okay, why not? Why not? And so this came back, turned around very, very quickly. It's G48 now from Continuous Precision. A number of things have happened. On the serrations on the front, what they should be, deep and useful, where you can actually use them to rack the gun. Also, different coating. Originally, this gun came with the stainless steel barrel. Now it's been coated. It's black, probably as guns should be. If they're not red or orange, they probably should be black. Match barrel is in it right now. I told him, I said, don't need to replace the trigger because as it happens, this trigger is from Apex. This is the G48 that Apex developed their trigger on. But the important thing they did that was really kind of neat, this is Trijicon RMR, standard size Trijicon RMR. You know that I'm a fan of Trijicon RMRs. Gee, that's not a big secret, right? And you'll notice that it's mounted to the rear with the backup irons in front. And when triggered returns, we're going to talk about that just a little bit.
The revolutionary TCM from Rock Island Armory. Fire it once and you'll be hooked. The first thing you'll notice is its sonic boom and enormous muzzle flash as it hurls the exclusive Armscore 22 TCM round downrange at a blistering 2,000 feet per second with penetrating impact. It shoots surprisingly easy with light recoil. The 17-round TCM series, so fun to shoot, it's like a thrill ride, only better.
Welcome back to Triggered, where I have been talking about the Glock G48 as maybe one of the most perfect Glocks I've ever been able to put my hands on. And especially this version that has been overhauled by Continuous Precision in Michigan. They feel really strongly that a full-size sight mounted to the rear is the path to take with the G48. And I thought, well, there's a way to test that. So, really shortly after I sent this gun off, Glock sent me an email and said, hey, we have now the G48 Mos, their modular optics system, essentially a gun already cut for a red dot sight. Now in this case, because this is a very narrow width slide, the gun was cut for either a SIG, Romeo 0, their narrow sight, a Shield, RMRC, their small red dot sight, like I have used on Car Arms guns, or the brand new Trijicon RMR CC. Now I already have the Shield and I have the SIG Romeo 0, and I'm not necessarily all that crazy about looking at the Trijicon RMR CC because it's a different footprint, which means we got to drill us some holes. Whereas the whole advantage of an MOS Glock is you take the plate off and screw the sight on. So Glock sent me this gun. I took the plate off and I screwed on this Romeo 0, which is a really, really nice little sight. And you'll notice there's a whole co-witness setup in this little puppy. You can kind of see a little trench there. It's exactly the same, by the way, on the English Shield sight, on their red dot sight compact version. So I'm not sure whether it's co-witnessing or not, but it may be close enough for government work. Now, what I wanted to do was address the question of whether it matters if the dot is back and the backup irons are in front, or the dot's in front and the backup irons are back. Now, that is one of those questions that is almost like 9mm 45. It goes on and on and on and on, and there's some big name people who feel very specifically about this. For example, Gabe Suarez absolutely has written extensively that God intended you to have the red dot in front of the backup irons, just the regular position, we would call it. This, by the way, is I think My first red dot Glock, it's a Leupold Delta Point, which actually windage and elevation no longer work, but on the other hand, it was sighted in about 8 years ago. It still works super. Or David Bowie, Bowie Tactical, who is, again, along with Gabe Suarez, one of the original pioneers of the red dot sight. This is from Bowie Tactical. And you'll notice that here the Tridge is in the back, Trijicon RMR in the back, backup irons on front. So here's the thing. When I started shooting red dots, that was an issue. You know why it was an issue? Because I kept using the iron sight, the backup iron, as a crutch. I came up with the gun, zing, I saw the backup irons, I took the shot. The more I got used to shooting in red dot sights, specifically when I started competing with red dots on pistols in USPSA and carry optics, I no longer care about anything but the red dot. When the gun comes up, I'm looking for the dot. That's all I'm doing. And if you present 1,000 times, the next thing you know, the dot's going to be there for you. But I wanted to try it out. I haven't had a chance to put live rounds through it for all the chicken run reasons. But before we were evacuated out of our home, I started doing dry fires with these guns. I did about 350, 375 with each gun. And I would do 50, alternate, 50, 50, alternate, 50, 50, alternate, 50. I use belt holsters, OWB holsters, range holsters, and I also used IWB holsters. And what I wanted to know was, is one slower than the other? Do I pick up this gun faster or slower than the smaller window on the SIG Romeo Zero? So you tell me. This is obviously a more svelte package, but once again, this one isn't particularly big either. And after the 350, 375 draws, what I found was no difference. From my own standpoint, I didn't see any difference whether the sight is back here or the sight is forward. I actually pulled out these two guns. I pulled out the David Bowie gun with the Trijicon in the back, and I pulled out not this gun with the Leupold, but I pulled out a Suarez gun with the standard mount on the Trijicon RMR, and I did the same thing with them. I drew from a competition holster, a OWB holster, not competition, and an IWB, concealed carry holster, and I couldn't really see that much of a difference. I would like to say, though, with the caveat that I shoot a lot of red dot sights. I shoot red dot sights on almost everything now. For example, when we talked about going to the Rob Latham class, which you're going to see on Shooting Gallery in Q1 2021, I fired 1,500 rounds, almost 2,000 rounds in the course of 3 days. I never once saw my backup iron sight. So, which is better? Well, you pays your money, you takes your chances. I don't believe it matters. I don't believe it matters one whit. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about magazines and a little bit about holsters. Plus, check out this great new tripod. We'll be right back. This week's Triggered is brought to you by Franklin Armory, the home of innovation in firearms. Volquartsen, engineering the world's best rimfires. Taurus, USA, designed to protect. Lipsy's and their great Guns of the Month. And Revolution Targets, 21st Century Steel. Welcome back to Triggered, where we're doing all things G48 today. I wanted to talk a little bit about magazines. As I mentioned, originally they were 10-round magazines that came from Glock. Yet another company called Shield. I mean, come on, guys. Can we all think of a different name? M&P Shield, the Shield sights, the Shield magazines. Anyway, the great thing about these magazines is they're metal. They're drop-free. They work. I don't have a huge number of rounds through them, a couple hundred rounds through them. They do work so far, and they're 15 rounds. That's pretty spiffy, right? The only change I made in the gun at the suggestion of the company was I changed out the mag release here from a polymer one, as is standard on Glock, to a steel one, because steel on steel is good. steel on polymer, I'm probably going to chew up this, but with the steel magazine, when it catches on a polymer like mag release like that, it's going to wear it a little. So these are great magazines. Great magazines. I'm very happy with them. I'm going to just keep shooting them. I know lots of people who have them and essentially have standardized on them at this point. Wanted to talk just a little bit about holsters for the G48. You know, since it's a flat G19, it's not a big deal. Everybody makes one. My go-to holsters for a lot of years were the Bravo Concealment Kydex holsters, the OWB like this guy, I have IWB. So when I was putting this piece together, I needed G48 OWB, IWB holsters pretty quickly. So I ordered their polymer holsters, which are exactly the same as their Kydex holsters, except made in polymer. I do not recommend that you do that. I am not a fan of polymer. And the reason I'm not a fan of polymer is I've broken them, a lot of them. In fact, if you go in my garage and root around, I can give you pieces of plastic holsters that people guaranteed me would work. But I got them quickly. I wanted to show you a quick little point here. The fit between a regular G48 and a G48 Mos is slightly different on the nose. The nose of the guns, if you can see here, are different. And that's going to make some holsters that you got, because it said just for G48, are not going to work, or you're going to have to dink around with them to make them work. So before you buy a holster, you might want to ask them like, hey, do you build a holster specifically for the G48 Mos? So something to think about. Finally, I am not one of those people who go into hysterics about hybrid leather holsters. I have very good friends who do, and they can make a really legitimate case. This is a crossbreed holster. I think most of you are familiar with this. What my friends say is the danger is that as the holster wears, this flap can come down when you reholster, it could catch the trigger. Okay, I will give you that. What I would like to suggest to you guys is this. Don't be an idiot. Holsters wear out. I've worn out holsters. Leather holsters wear out. I love leather holsters, but they do wear. However, one thing I will agree with them on is this one is this particular IWB tuck holster. I never tuck holsters. It's a terrible feature. I don't like it. It has too much leather here. I need to cut around it because I don't want that much leather around the gun. It's comfortable, but key point with these kind of different hybrid holsters, no space in here, no space in here. Any Kydex holster that has a standoff right here, don't buy it. It lets stuff get to the trigger. Okay, I'm G48'd out. We're going to take a look now at an amazing tripod. I saw this tripod at the Ballistic Summit in Whittington Center and was blown away, and you're going to be too.
Hi, I'm Jason with Medieval Industries, and what we're going to show here today is the Overwatch Commander. We're first going to start off with a 360 vert grip. So a little quarter turn off of the grip allows it to go literally 360 degrees around the gun completely. Doesn't matter if you're a righty or a lefty, if you choose to shoot angled or straight vertical, that can be achieved. Once you're ready and set where you need to, a little quarter turn to it, quarter turn, locks the grip into place, doesn't go anywhere now, and allows the shooter many options to customize and how they want to use their support side hand. Coming back in a little further into the Overwatch Commander, you'll see here we have our mini tripod configuration that sits on top. We have one tension knob right here. Simply loosen this. As you do this, allows the rifle now not only play from side to side, forward and back, but also allows you a smooth fluidity transfer between targets. Also, if you were to actually be on target with something and have a threat or target come in on closer, don't adjust anything with your scope. If your dope is set, leave it there. Simply, if you were to have 45-degree offset sights or an RMR, simply go ahead and cant the weapon system and you'll be able to get on your irons quickly and then come back to what you were originally looking at with your optic. Again, transfer to 45-degree offsets and then back to what you're looking at with your optic. Simple twist of this allows it to lock back up. You notice here I can go hands-free. Now I'm going to show you the second feature of this. If we go down to the base of the tripod, you'll see there's a second tension knob. Once I loosen this, I come back up and I loosen the top end. This allows now the shooter to be able to actually be mobile to a certain extent and yet still stay with contact on the ground. The weapon is balanced. My support sidearm is not fatigued. Strong sidearm allows me to focus on trigger control, allows shooter to focus on breathing, which is one of the first things that's usually omitted. But it also allows me too that if I were to have a threat behind me, I don't have to disconnect from anything. I can simply switch to the threat that was behind me. As I'm standing, if something were to advance within field of view, I can actually step to the rear and look at that closer ended angle shot if I needed to. As I dip the weapon system down over, if I needed to come back or go for a higher elevation, that is also available to you. Now, what I'll simply show you here real quick is if you make the decision you'd rather shoot prone or shoot off maybe the hood of the vehicle, something like that, or bench rest shoot, that's available to you with the Overwatch Commander. See here on our mini tripod system, we have the legs adjustable to 3 different positions. Pop collar allows me to come off of the system. Now I could go to prone, shoot on a bench rest, shoot on the hood of a vehicle. Something come back to the platform, collar goes down, locks it back in place. Maybe the individual man makes a decision, I need to run and gun or move out. System can actually be left in place and the individual can move out with the rifle. Collar goes back down, reattach weapon system, be back to hands off. If you choose to at any point in time, there is different configurations and how you can choose to, with the footprint being as large as what it is with the larger legs. If you wanted the footprint to be smaller, you can take the mini tripod and simply connect it to the base, giving you an even smaller footprint. The Overwatch Commander from Medieval Industries. No excuse, you gotta have one.
Okay, I have an Overwatch Commander tripod on order. Man, it's a great thing. I hope this was helpful to you on G48s. We're back in the saddle again. The fires have laid down. The snows have come, and hey, it's going to be winter in Colorado soon. You can find us on michaelbain.tv. You can find us on everest.com. You can, of course, find us on YouTube and watch us on your big television. We'll see you next week. And by the way, be safe. Scary times. Oh, if you don't put a round in the chamber, doesn't matter how hard you pull the trigger.